In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. He spoke light into existence. He separated the waters from the sky. He filled the earth with every kind of plant and tree, and the seas with every living creature. He set the sun and moon in their places and called it good. But on the sixth day, God did something different. He didn't just speak. He knelt down, took dust from the ground, and formed a man with his own hands. Then he breathed into the man's nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living soul. His name was Adam. God planted a garden in the east, in a place called Eden, and he placed Adam there. This was no ordinary garden. God made every tree grow from the ground, trees that were beautiful to look at and good for food. Rivers flowed through it. Gold and precious stones lay in the surrounding lands. In the middle of the garden stood two trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God gave Adam a command, the first command ever given to a human being. You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For on the day you eat of it, you will surely die. God brought every animal and bird he had made to Adam, and Adam gave each one a name. Whatever Adam called each creature, that became its name. But as Adam named them, and the lions, the eagles, the cattle, every creeping thing, something became clear. Every creature had a companion, a counterpart, but for Adam, there was no one. God looked at his creation, everything he had made and called good, and for the first time said, "It is not good for the man to be alone." So God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep, and while he slept, God took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh. From that rib, God fashioned a woman and brought her to the man. When Adam saw her, he spoke the first recorded human words, and they were poetry. "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." And the two of them were together in the garden, naked and unashamed. There was no fear between them, no hiding, no shame, just complete openness before God and before each other. Now the serpent was more cunning than any animal God had made. He came to the woman and asked a question, not a command, not a threat, just a question. "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" The woman answered, "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden. But God did say, you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die." The serpent said to the woman, "You will not surely die. God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." The woman looked at the tree. She saw that the fruit was good for food, that it was pleasing to the eye, that it was desirable for gaining wisdom. She took some, and she ate it. Then she gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate. In that moment, everything changed. Their eyes were opened, but not the way the serpent had promised. The first thing they saw was themselves. They realized they were naked, and for the first time in the history of the world, human beings felt shame. They sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves. Then they heard a sound, God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, a sound that had once meant closeness, comfort, presence. Now it meant terror. Adam and Eve hid among the trees. God called out to Adam, "Where are you?" Adam said, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." God said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree I commanded you not to eat from?" And here, in the very first human failure, we see the very first human instinct that followed, blame. Adam said, "The woman you put here with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree, and I ate it." God turned to the woman. "What is this you have done?" The woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." God cursed the serpent, condemned to crawl on its belly, to eat dust all the days of its life. But then God said something else to the serpent, something that echoes through the rest of the Bible. "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." To the woman, God said her pain in childbirth would be greatly multiplied. To Adam, God said the ground itself was now cursed because of him. By the sweat of his brow he would eat his food until he returned to the ground. For dust you are, and to dust you will return. But even in judgment, God showed something unexpected. Adam named his wife Eve, meaning life, because she would become the mother of all the living. Even after everything, he chose a name that meant hope. And God, the one who had just pronounced their punishment, made garments of skin for Adam and Eve and clothed them himself. They couldn't cover their own shame, so God covered it for them. Then God said, "The man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and also take from the tree of life and eat and live forever." So God sent them out of the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which Adam had been taken. He placed cherubim and a flaming sword flashing back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life. The garden was closed, and humanity's story outside of Eden had begun.